Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Ho Vishnupada Paramahansa Bhattacharya Saraswata Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Ho Vishnupada Paramahansa Bhattacharya Saraswata Sri Srimad. I'm sorry, I already said. Namaste Gaudiya Vaishnava ki jai. Namaste Haridas Thakur ki jai. Pramse Ko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Veda Gadhar Sri Bhakti Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Sambakun Radha Kun Gaman ki jai. Urdama Dhamma ki jai. Mathura Dhamma ki jai. Navibhi Dhamma ki jai. Jagannathpuri Dhamma ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Yogamaya ki jai. Yogamaya ki jai. Sabbath Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste, Namaste. Hare Krishna. See, I'm not ready for summer. I'm already sweating. It's not even hot anymore. See, in the wintertime, I tease all these guys. You know, they're already like shivering cold and having to like bundle up with extra layers. And I'm just like this. I'm like, oh, it feels so nice. Then summer hits, and I'm like dying. I used to live in Alaska. Hare Krishna. Is that four going to reach?
It's like the world tries to find always two pieces, except the opposite.
I see.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, I think I see Magadari on here. Jagannath.
Hi!
Hey, is that a whirlpool in your hotel room behind you? Oh my word.
I wish.
What are those liquor bottles doing there? No.
What did he say? Come on. Come on. We're partying, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We have a Prabhu doing a sleep study to see how he's sleeping, if he's actually breathing at night.
That's a
He's
good thing.
tuning in to for the app right now for class.
My brain causes me to forget to breathe during the day. You should see my personal trainer. He's always freaking out. Like, are you breathing? I'm like, no, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Is this on? You gave me a microphone that's not on? Prabhu, what are you doing? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Bhagavad Gita class. Oh no, someone lost my place again. I can't believe they keep doing this to me. Okay.
This one says chapter 8, text 1. I don't think that's correct.
Well, I know we were on
13?
is 13.
There's like
Yeah, the
14.
nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. And I believe, did we start with that yesterday, or were we already into the 13th verse?
Yeah, we were past 13 first.
So we
I
were
think.
probably up to verse 24, I believe. Yeah, okay, so if we started the day before, ended at the 13th verse, we started the 14th verse, so we would be at text 25 today, starting. So we're going to start with the introduction prayer.
So we said 8:25?
Chapter 13. Yeah. We're starting introduction prayer, page 1. Omagana Pramandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakya Shakumitam Yena Tasme Shudave Namaha Shite Pranyanano Bisham Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Gadite Swa Paditikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupa Sagar Japtam Sahagana Raghunath Avitam Satta Sajivam Savetam Sahutam Haryajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkana Vitam Cha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Avetya and Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapa Kamchana Gorangi Rade Vindaspansvare Vispanu Sute Devi Pranambaname Hare Kriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vishpanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Pancha Kapata Rupadyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaya Vipascha Patitanam Abhadbhayo Vaishnavaya Bhayo Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva Bhaktivinda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva, and all the others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we are on chapter 13. Nature, the enjoyer and consciousness. Today we're starting at text 25. We do 11 verses, the Sanskrit, the translation, and read the purports. This way we hear the entire Bhagavad Gita in 3 months' time. Text 25. Dayane nattamani pashyanti Keshchid atmanam anye sampyena yogena karma yogena chapare. The supersoul perceived by some through meditation, by some through the cultivation of knowledge, and by others through working without fruit of desire. Text 26. Anyetva evam ajyanata Shrutadma Tadvadyebaya Ukshase Tepe Chati Tarate Eva Vidyam Shruti Parayana. Translation. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Text 27. Yavat samyajayate kinchit sattva satvara janagamam sitra jagyana samyagat yogat tavidi bharatasapa. Translation. O chief of the Bharatas, whatever you see in existence, both moving and unmoving, is only the combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Text 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishantam paramatastaram vinashyate anashtayatam yapayashte sapasyate. Translation. One who sees the supersoul accompany the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the supersoul is ever destroyed actually sees. Text 29. Samam pasyam hi sarvatra samapasritam istaram nahishyate atmanam tato yati param gatim. Translation. One who sees the supersoul of every living being and equal everywhere does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. Text 30. Praktiraya chakamani prayamanyani sarvasya ya pasyati tatatmanam akartam sa pasyati. Translation. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees the self does nothing, actually sees. Text 31. Yada bhuta prita bhavam ikasitam anupasyate tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadhyate tara. Translation. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities which are due to different material bodies, he attains to the Brahman conception. Thus he sees that beings are expanded everywhere. Text 32. Nana dipan nigrunatva paramatmayam aveyaha sariya sito hi kamteya Nakarakarti na lipyate. Translation. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, or Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Text 33. Yatta sarvakatam sakmasya akasham Nolapiyate sarvajashabito dehe tatatma nopalipiyate. Translation. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul, situated in Brahma vision, does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Text 34. Yatta parakshati ikka Krishnam lokam ima ravi Sitram sitri tata Krishnam prakshayati bharata. Translation. O son Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates the universe, so does a living entity. One within the body illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Our final text for this evening, as it finishes up the chapter, text 35. Sitra jnana yogivam antaram dhyana chakshusha uta prakriti mokshapcha yeviduryati te param. Translation. One who not only sees this difference between the body and the owner of the body can understand the process of liberation from this bondage also attains the supreme goal. Turning to text 25. Translation once again. And purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. That supersoul is perceived by some through meditation, by some through the cultivation of knowledge, by others through working without fruit of desire. Purport. The Lord informs Arjuna that the conditioned soul can be divided into two classes as far as a man's search for self-realization is concerned. Those who are atheists, agnostics, and skeptics are beyond the sense of spiritual understanding. But there are others who are faithful in their understanding of spiritual life, and they are called workers who have renounced fruitive results. Those who have always tried to establish the doctrine of monism are also counted among the atheists and agnostics. In other words, only the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are really capable of spiritual understanding, because they understand that beyond this material nature, there is a spiritual world, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is expanded as a Paramatma, the Supersoul, in everyone, the all-pervading Godhead. Of course, there are those who try to understand the supreme absolute truth by cultivation of knowledge, and they can be counted in the second class. The atheistic philosophers analyze this material world into 24 elements, and they place the individual soul as a 25th item. When they are able to understand the nature of the individual soul to be transcendental to material elements, they're able to understand also that above the individual soul there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the 26th element. Thus, gradually, they also come to the standard of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Those who work without fruitive results are also perfect in their attitude. They are given a chance to advance to the platform of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Here it is stated that there are some people who are impure in consciousness who try to find out that the supersoul by meditation, and when they discover the supersoul within themselves, they become transcendently situated. Similarly, there are others who are also trying to understand the supersoul by cultivation of knowledge. And there are others who cultivate the Hatha Yoga system who try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by childish activities. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So this has been a very nice chapter. It's explaining that we not only have a soul, but we also have what is called a super soul, Paratma. It's this tiny piece of God within all of us. It's kind of what I was explaining the other day. Is you kind of understand this super soul within. It's like going to the amusement park. Going to the fun house. They have a room with mirrors, all kinds of mirrors all surrounded around, to where when you walk in, it looks like yourself has been expanded out into infinity. Well, that's how I envision the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that little piece of God within all of us. It's a reflection of God. It's God, one and the same, that's been expanded out into infinity. He's in each and every one of us. And the yogis spend a lot of time trying to meditate on the super soul, trying to meditate on the Paramatma within. Previous yugas is much easier to do this because you have more time. You have a longer lifespan, sharper intelligence. Unfortunately, we are in the Kali Yuga. Oh, yes, this is a bad yuga to be in. It's like going to a rock concert, Yeah, the porta potties at the rock concert, at the very beginning of the concert, before everyone's even using them, how the porta potties are nice and pristine and clean. That's the first yuga, where they haven't even been touched. We're in Kali Yuga. This is at the end of the concert. It's been going on for 6 hours straight. They've been serving drinks and food, and people have been using them, and they're overflowing. We're in the Kali Yuga. Demigods don't even want to stop here, to use the bathroom. They lock their doors, as they fly by Earth. Yeah, we're in a rough neighborhood in Kali Yuga. So all the sins of the world, it's just compiling up into this age. All the past karma and all the past sins. But this super soul, this is the aspect of that divine knowledge that's within all of us. The divine presence. God that's within each and every one of us. Why each and every person is special. That's why we offer obeisances to everyone. We offer obeisances to each other. Here in the temple, we call each other Prabhu, which means Lord. We recognize that Lord is within. As mentioning yesterday, even Christianity recognizes that the body is a temple. I believe it was what Jesus said, the body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. This body is very special. We're in this age of Kali. The human form is so special because it's a rare form. A lot of people think, oh no, it's not a rare form. The planet's overpopulated with humans. How can you say it's rare? Well, it is a rare form compared to all the other living jivas and entities and souls that are out there. You take this, there's 8,400,000 forms of species. All of them have souls. And just take one of the species, the ant. It's estimated there's over 40 quadrillion ants on Earth. 40 quadrillion. That's a lot of souls waiting for a human body. And there's only 8 billion of us right now. So there's, just from the ant kingdom, there's 40 quadrillion souls waiting, for a human birth. Someone actually has to, do their thing and, produce children in this world for, these jivas to be able to take human birth. So we're, in this century, 8 billion people, but previous centuries it was even less. So human birth is very rare and should be taken advantage of for God realization, because this is our only opportunity for God realization. In the animal form, the animal kingdom, as I was been saying in previous classes, these are all different prison cells. And in the animal form, we don't have that free will to recognize, I'm going to use this body to, in service to God. No, we're just living off our instincts, off our past karmic reactions. If I'm a dog, then I'm chasing that ball, no matter how many times you throw it. I'll be happy, if, when you come home and, open up the door and I get to run in and see you. If I'm a dog, I'm just living up to my instincts. I don't have the capacity to realize that there's a God, that I should offer my obeisances to Him, that I can serve this God. So in the animal form, we have no free will. We are just living out our prison sentence in that form, waiting for the human birth again. That's why it's so important that we take advantage of the human birth. Is Maharaj has something to say? We have a comment from Maharaj.
Give us just 1 second, Maharaj. Okay.
Okay. Super soul, in the heart of all living entities, he has unlimited form, is a fact. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, Anantarupam. Anantarupa means he comes in millions of forms. But the form in the heart is the super soul, four-handed feature of Narayan or Vishnu. And each one of those Narayans it's one person, and he's expanded into all these forms. So that's the difference between a yogic expansion. Yogic expansion, they can expand their bodies into 8 forms. So like a television expansion, you have 8 televisions in a row, they're all showing the same picture. But Vishnu, in the heart of ever living entity, he's super soul. He can expand unlimitedly, and each of those expansions is complete. Om Purnamadac Purnamidam, Purnat Purnam Udakshate, Purnasi Purnamadaya, Purnam Eva Vishishate. All the expansions are coming from him, and all of his expansions are also him incomplete. Complete means not anything missing, no deterioration from the other expansions of Vishnu. For example, Krishna, he also expands himself. He has that ability, but he expands when he has, generally in his two-handed form. For example, he expands as the dancer with the gopis. Gopis want to dance with him, rasa dance. So Krishna agrees and expands himself into as many forms as there are gopis. But each one is a different Krishna. He's the same Krishna and the different also, because different in the sense that he can be doing something, some dance step with her, and in the other gopi, he's doing a different dance step with her. But it's all transcendental. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your words of wisdom. So yes, the super soul, expansions of Krishna. Narayana. But as I was saying, the human form is that rare form that we have this opportunity to have the choice whether to continue with our sense indulgence and try to gratify our material senses, which there's karmic reaction in, or try to return to our constitutional position as servants of God. Those choices that we have are very important, because each and every action we have, each and every action that we perform has consequences, has rewards, has punishments, however you want to call it. If I'm acting in Krishna consciousness, I'm purifying my past actions. By acting in Krishna consciousness, I'm not collecting karmic debt. I'm not collecting any new karma or bad karma, good karma or bad karma. But if I'm on the platform acting for my material senses and not in Krishna consciousness, not as a servant of God, then there's karmic reaction to my actions. Yes, do you have a question or comment?
Yeah. I believe you mentioned the eight extensions, and it's a very familiar number to me, and I wonder if it feels like it connects back to the 8 directions or the 8 ways. Is that familiar?
The 8 expansions?
He said like the 8 extensions of the super souls.
Oh, no, the super soul is expanded in unlimited ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just curious if that branches back to the 8 directions or the 8 ways. Yeah. Well, obviously, I think you just answered that. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. We're going to move on to our next verse. Verse 26. Translation. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Purport. This verse is particularly applicable to modern society because in modern society, there is practically no education in spiritual matters. Some of the people may appear to be atheistic or agnostic or philosophical, but actually there is no knowledge of philosophy. As for the common man, if he is a good soul, then there's a chance for advancement by hearing. This hearing process is very important. Lord Chaitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress, especially according to Lord Chaitanya, if he hears the transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized souls and gradually become able to understand everything. The worship of the Supreme Lord will then undoubtedly take place. Lord Chaitanya has said that in this age, no one needs to change his position, but one should give up the endeavor to understand the absolute truth by speculative reasoning. One should learn to become the servant of those who are in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. If one is fortunate enough to take shelter of a pure devotee, hear from him about the self-realization and follow in his footsteps, he will gradually be gradually elevated to the position of a pure devotee. In this verse particularly, the process of hearing is strongly recommended, and this is very appropriate. Although the common man is often not capable of, as so-called philosophers, faithful hearing from an authoritative person will help one transcend this material existence and go back to Godhead, back to home. So as once again, this is recommended path. Krishna consciousness, the Bhakti Yoga path. Hearing from a self-realized soul, a pure devotee. Pure devotee is very rare. Very rare to come across one. Luckily, we have the grace of the spiritual master, who is a representative of Krishna. They're here to teach us how to love and serve God. As I said before, this concept of, loving service to God sounds so easy, but yet we don't know the meaning of love. We only know this perverted form of love in this world that they have preached to us. And people use it so loosely. I love my car. I love my house. I love my dog. I love my yard. I love this. I love that. I love my little pet goldfish. It's used so loosely. It takes a spiritual master, a self-realized soul, to help guide us, to help teach us how to be a servant. And as I was saying, this is so important in this human form of life to take advantage of this, because if we don't take advantage of this, we run the chance of falling back down into animal form or insect form or bacteria form. There's so many ways we could fall down into, and who knows when we'll get the next chance at a human form again. So I'm saying human form is a rare birth. But those who actually take advantage of the human birth and actually make progress in serving God, using their body to serve God. If they aren't, fully purified, they don't, fully make it out of Maya this lifetime, well, they get a fast pass back to human birth. They don't have to fall back down to the hellish conditions of life. Fast pass back to human birth. Sometimes even up to higher planetary systems, and enjoy wonderful life up in the heavenly planets. So it's very important that we spend our time in serving God and serving Krishna. Take full advantage of this human life, not waste it on gratifying the senses like animals do. Because we might just end up as an animal again, not knowing when, we'll get out of that form. Move on to text 27. O chief of the Bhartas, whatever you see in existence, both moving and unmoving, is only the combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Purport. Both material nature and the living entity which were existing before the creation of the cosmos are explained in this verse. Whatever is created is but a combination of the living entity and material nature. There are many manifestations like trees, mountains, and hills which are not moving. And there are many existences which are moving, and all of them are but combinations of material nature and superior nature, the living entity. Without the touch of the superior nature, the living entity, nothing can grow. Therefore, the relationship between matter and nature is eternally going on. And this combination is affected by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is controller of both the superior and inferior natures. The material nature is created by him, and superior nature is placed in this material nature. And thus all these activities and manifestations take place. Text 28. Translation. One who sees the supersoul accompany the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the supersoul is ever destroyed, actually sees. Purport. Anyone who can anyone who can see three things: the body, the proprietor of the body, or the individual soul, and the friend of the individual soul, combined together by good association, is actually in knowledge. Those who are not in associated with the soul's friend are ignorant. They simply see the body, and when the body is destroyed, they think that everything is finished. But actually, it is not so. After the destruction of the body, both the soul and the supersoul exist. They go on eternally in many various moving and unmoving forms. The Sanskrit word parameshvaram is sometimes translated as the individual soul because the soul is the master of the body. And after the destruction of the body, he transfers to another form. In that way, he is master. But there are others who interpret this parameshvaram to be the supersoul. In either case, both the supersoul and the individual soul continue. They are not destroyed. One can see in this way, can actually see what is happening. Our souls are forever. Can't be destroyed. We've always existed. Isn't that something to think about? We've always existed alongside Krishna. There was never a time that we did not exist. That's something to think about. Wow. Makes you kind of wonder, contemplate time. Time is just one of those interesting things I contemplate on every now and then. Because, early in life, it seems like, time, just drags so slow. You're waiting to grow up, and oh my gosh, how much longer till Christmas? How much longer my birthday? It just seems like time takes forever as you're growing up. As you begin to get older, begin to look back and you can start realizing, wow, my childhood actually went pretty fast. The next thing you know, you're looking back and you're like, whoa, what happened? What happened in my 20s? They just flew on by. And the next thing you know, you're looking, it's like, oh, wait, oh, jeez. What happened? My 30s flew on by. No, stop! My 40s have flown on by. Stop! It's flying by so fast. That's why time is so valuable. You can't buy back a single moment of it. There's no amount of wealth in the world, no amount of gold. There's nothing that you can buy back a single moment of time.
In my work, I've learned that time is kind of this man-made construct, almost a schedule of materialism. So like the more materialistic world, we connect time to, as you said, like Christmas and things like that, which would be connections to how long till I get my gifts, how long till I get that job that I want, how long until I get that degree, how long until I do this. And then the physical connection to the material and psychological, those moments when you say, my 20s flew by, but the 20s was this connection to a physical body belonging to a material schedule of another time. And so that's an
Yes,
interesting
the time that I was in my body in the 20s, that body no longer exists.
Exactly.
The time that I was spent in my 30s, that body no longer exists. Boy, I wish I had those previous bodies. It was a lot less, arthritis and aches and pains. The older that you get, the more aches and pains and old injuries come back to haunt you. Text 29. One who sees the super soul in every living being and equal everywhere does not degrade himself and by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. Report. Living entity, by accepting his material existence as just as so much suffering can be situated in a spiritual existence, if one understands that the Supreme is situated in his paramount manifestations everywhere, that is, if one can see the presence of the Supreme Personality Godhead in every living thing, he does not degrade himself, and he therefore gradually advances in the spiritual world. The mind is generally addicted to self-centered processes, but when the mind turns to the supersoul, one becomes advanced in spiritual understanding. Text 30. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. Report. This body is made by material nature under the direction of the supersoul. Whatever activities are going on in the respect to one's body are not his doing. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or distress, one is forced to do because of bodily constitution. The self, however, is outside all these bodily activities. This body is given according to one's past desires. To fulfill desires, one is given the body with which he acts accordingly. Practically speaking, the body is a machine designed by the Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Because of desires, one is put into difficult circumstances to suffer or to enjoy. This transcendental vision of the living entity, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. One has such a vision as an actual seer. Text 31. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities which are due to different material bodies, he attains to the Brahman conception. Thus he sees the beings are expanded everywhere. Report. When one can see that the various bodies of living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul, do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees. In this material conception of life, we find someone a demigod, someone a human being, a dog, a cat, etc. This is material vision, not actual vision. This material differentiation is due to a material conception of life. After the destruction of the material body, the spirit soul is one. The spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, gets different types of bodies. When one can see this, he attains spiritual vision, thus being free from differentiations like man, animal, big, low, and etc. One becomes beautified in his consciousness and is able to develop Krishna consciousness in his spiritual identity. How he then sees things will be explained in the next verse. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, any questions or comments so far? Got a few minutes left. I'll argue the next verse. There's no questions or comments. Yes, probably.
Push my jumping spider. I don't know where he went.
I was wondering if you had any comments
Oh, here you go.
on. I was wondering if you had any comments on this.
He does not degrade himself by his mind. Verse 29.
Verse 29.
Yes. What does this mean?
One sees a super soul in every living being and equal everywhere, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. What does that mean? Well, when one is seeing the super soul in every living being, he's actually seeing correctly. He's actually seeing Krishna consciously. As therefore he's not being degraded. When one is not seeing correctly, you know, I see a man, I see a woman, I see a pile of gold. Oh, look, gold! I can use that gold. You know? It's not seeing correctly. But one is seeing correctly, he sees Krishna in everyone. Sees Krishna in everything. You know, Krishna is part of everything. He's in everyone. So you're not being degraded when you're seeing correctly. You're being degraded when you're seeing incorrectly. Because when you're seeing things incorrectly, then there's envy, then there's desires. You're desiring for things that you don't need. It's like, as I was talking to Dr. Cody earlier. He's working at a dispensary now. We were talking a little bit about marijuana. It's like, man, there's a time I smoked so much of that stuff. Smoked a lot of ganja. But now that I'm in Krishna consciousness, now that I've tasted the nectar coming from Krishna, you can keep that ganja. You can keep that weed. Because this is so much better. I much rather be chanting on my beads and smoking the joints. I don't want to even touch the stuff anymore. Because it was all empty. It was a nice high, but it always left you empty. It always left you wanting more and more of it. You had to work so hard to get it. Plus, it's not good for your health, not good for your mental health. But that's looking at things between what is Krishna consciousness and what is material desires. When I was looking at marijuana with my material eyes, it's like, oh, that looks so nice. I can get high. I'm thinking that I need this, to calm me down, to put me at ease. I was looking with material eyes. And now that I'm in Krishna consciousness and looking, seeing Krishna in everything. It's like, I don't need that. I don't even have the desire for that anymore. Because now that I've got something much sweeter. Oh, the nectar is so sweet in Krishna consciousness. Especially once you begin to start tasting it. I think that's our, oh, you have a...
Just a last thing, so in my studies I've come to find a lot of mental and thought degradation is to sin in thought. We don't just sin physically, we can sin mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and so that is a lot of mental degradation.
Yeah. No, for sure. That is our time for today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Hi.
Okay, let's see here. We're starting a new chapter tomorrow. Chapter 14, 3 modes of material nature.
That's right.